vessels of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us, or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We're going to take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. Here's what we have in store for you on this November 6th, 2013 edition.
Tonight, a woman is shot to death when cops were too busy to respond. Then, the federal government carelessly disposes of radioactive waste over the objections of California residents and local government. And yet another GMO labeling initiative succumbs to big corporate money. All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
And welcome back. Top story headline: General blames Night Stalker for military purge. Now, who is the Night Stalker? It's Valerie Jarrett, a top Obama advisor. Jarrett, a Chicago lawyer with far-left roots, is one of Obama's closest advisors and has been throughout his career, well before his presidential campaign and Oval Office occupancy. Now, if you want a more thorough breakdown of the 200-plus military personnel who have been purged under Obama, we will go to this clip from today from the Alex Jones radio show.
And you've got well over 200. WorldNet Daily says 200. It's well over 200. Top military brass being purged. And the big issue is, in most cases, they won't say why, and then they give them orders under national security to not say why. And then I talk to high-level brass, and they say, no, it's the litmus test. Will you do gun confiscation during a collapse? And they're pre-deploying the troops. They're training them for unprecedented riot control. They're training them the Tea Party's their enemy. That's in Forbes and AP. I mean, it's all there is my point. It dizzies my mind to try to think of all the public intel. I mean, it is more than 100% documented. And you say, well, how can it be more than 100%? There's so many angles to it, so many different plans within plans they've got. There's like 500, 600% proof, because there's different battle plans and different variants and different stratas and different competing globalist groups and different operations. It'd be like if a coach said, I'm trying to get you outside one-dimensional thinking or two-dimensional thinking, folks. It'd be like if a coach said, yeah, we've got one play in the playbook. That's one-dimensional. They got a whole playbook of stuff. And we've got all their different plans. People say, well, that's just plans. Yeah, these are unprecedented plans. And the enemy isn't the Russians. It isn't the Chinese communists. It isn't, no, it's the American people, folks. Their own battle plans, their own main mission statements in Stars and Stripes and Army Times and everywhere is that the American people are the enemy, and now there is an unprecedented, in 236 years of U.S. history, gigantor purge of anyone who is not seen as a total communist.
And I recognize this is heavy news for those in the military. You may want to speak out, but you also recognize you could be caught up in the current purge. So do what you think is best for you in this current situation. We'll move on. Democrat win in Virginia signals new attack on Second Amendment. Democrat Terry McAuliffe's win for governor of Virginia was bolstered big time by the anti-Second Amendment crowd, led by billionaire nanny Mike Bloomberg and his independent U.S. PAC. And you can see the tweet there from Miss Gabby Giffords of Arizona. It says, "Congrats at Mike McAuliffe. Mark is her husband. Mark and I look forward to working with you to prevent gun violence." Now, if there's anybody who deserves a seat at the table when debating gun violence, it's Miss Gifford. She is definitely a victim of gun violence herself. But it concerns me that she's willing to take the Obama approach, that all-encompassing Dianne Feinstein approach, because you remember how Obama hid behind the gun grab. He said, well, he didn't so much to speak out against guns per se. He did say he didn't want you to have things like AK-47s. But he said, no, I'll just go with whatever Dianne Feinstein comes up with. And Dianne Feinstein, as you recall, wanted to ban things such as pump-action shotguns and many other things that she said just should not be on the streets at all. So definitely be aware of the people, including her husband, Mark, who straw purchased a firearm, even though he says it should be illegal. He straw purchased one, or attempted to straw purchase one, and then give it to the local police department. If you believe that story or not, regardless, he still did it. Cops too busy to respond to woman shot to death by boyfriend. Barbara McGregor sued the Utica Police Department and Officer Shanley in federal court on behalf of her late daughter, Kylie. The descendant had made numerous complaints over the previous 12 months, both to the Utica police and the state troopers, including informing them of a specific threat by Anderson to kill her. Anderson is her ex-boyfriend. In addition, Kylie had sought an order of protection that would have had Anderson off the streets, but was rebuffed because it was late in the day and the advocate was, quote, too busy. Now, this is just what we see more and more of, and definitely my condolences go out to this family, because we see the situations like, I believe it was in Detroit, a woman died. She called 911 multiple times, and the police dispatcher didn't think it was too serious and pretty much didn't dispatch anybody to the location until it was too late. And we see a similar situation with this. So to all the gun grabbers and people who say that, you know, if something happens, the police will come and rescue me. Just keep in mind situations like this. As well-intentioned as these police may have been, maybe just said, you know, it's a situation, it'll burn itself out. There's nothing too much to see here. Even if they were very well-intentioned, they did not stop this situation from happening. It's not just like this. Situations, Sandy Hook, Aurora, Columbine, just name them on and on and on. As well-intentioned as those police may have been, they weren't there to stop the massacres from happening. So definitely do what you need to do to protect yourselves and your family, and don't rely on the police for your safety. And if you need any more proof that we are currently living in a police state, families threatened with police monitoring over transgender complaints. Now, these are a few students who said, hey, we don't want the boys in the girls' bathroom. And some bad things happened, and now they're saying that the girls need to be under police monitoring.
I know that he doesn't have the same parts as me, which I do not think that's right, that he could go into the same bathroom as me.
When the school told me there's no rights, I was like, there has to be rights for these girls.
This Colorado high school decided to allow a boy who has gender identity disorders, and we recognize that. It allowed him to start using the girls' bathrooms, the girls' locker rooms.
And our final story for the night, GMO labeling initiative 522 has failed, proving once again that corporate money can buy food secrecy. As of this writing, Washington State I-522 looks to have narrowly failed at the ballot box. The article goes on to say the failure of 522 also shows that democracy itself doesn't work when a tidal wave of corporate money is allowed to influence election outcomes. And you recall the situation in California with, I believe it was Prop 37. It failed there in California as well. So if you live in a state that has the opportunity to label GMOs, I definitely encourage you to take it. Now, we'll end tonight with this. INFOWARS announces Resist TSA and NSA Tyranny 10K film contest. As you can see there, you have a cash prize of $10,000, a very great way to start off your year, your new year. You need to have all your submissions in by January 7th, and you have up to 7 minutes in your video, and you can see all the full contest rules on Infowars.com. Please follow the rules, have your stuff in by the deadline with the proper time limit. No profanity, no nudity, don't show us the butt shot. I know it's a good good TSA joke, but don't show your butt. And just follow the rules, make sure you have good stuff in there, and we'll take a look at it and try to get that out, get the submissions and all the things reviewed as early as possible. But in the meantime, if you like this broadcast and you want to see it continue, go to prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a 15-day free trial. You can get the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the rants, special reports, and so much more right there on prisonplanet.tv. Now stay tuned, because after this break, we'll have more special reports, and also David Knight talks to Telly Blackwood. You guys may remember him for the Paul Revere contest, George Washington's Revenge, so stay tuned for that. Top scientist. Another Fukushima quake means U.S. evacuation. Bye-bye, Japan.
I have seen a paper which says that if, in fact, the fourth plant goes under an earthquake and those rods are exposed, it's bye-bye Japan, and everybody on the west coast of North America should evacuate.
So if you thought Fukushima was over and done with, you thought, oh, well, that was back then. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Yes, you do have to worry about this continually, because like the scientist said, if you live on the west coast of the United States, not in Japan, if you live on the west coast of the U.S., this could affect you in the very near future, not to mention the giant barge of trash coming here from Japan as well.
Now you can watch the INFOWARS Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at INFOWARS.com/show.